Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is the Jordan Report and I am your host Robert Jordan. Everyone please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Okay guys, Bill Gates has reared his ugly head. Okay, we knew Bill Gates would take advantage of something like this. Bill Gates has always been in the vaccines, he's been in the family planning, he's into abortions. In fact, his dad was the head of Planned Parenthood. So he's been doing this a long time. All over the world, he's been doing vaccines and stuff like that. So we knew he would play a prominent role in this. But pay attention to what Bill Gates is coming up with. Okay, this was from April the 1st. I'm going to leave you the link. It's a very long article. I'm not going to read you the whole article. But this is something we should all know and be aware of. I also got a clip I'm going to show you. It's only 2 minutes long of Bill Gates talking about his digital certificate. Okay, here again, April the 1st. Bill Gates calls for a digital certificate to identify who received the COVID-19 vaccine. This is a perfect opportunity for the globalists to step in with something like this. Bill Gates recently stated on Reddit that digital certificates would be used to identify who received the upcoming COVID-19 vaccine. And these certificates would also be used to identify who can conduct business or not. Here's how this plan is already backed by a massive organization called ID2020. These people exist. They're on the web. You can look them up. They have a website. For years, Bill Gates has been at the forefront of research regarding global pandemics and mass vaccination campaigns. In the past decade, Gates went on several times stating that the world was not ready for a global pandemic. In October 2019, only a few months before the apparition COVID-19, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, in cooperation with the World Economic Forum, hosted Event 201, a 3.5-hour tabletop simulation of a global pandemic. You see, they were getting ready for this. This was just last year, people. This is October 2019. Here it is in New York. Oddly enough, this simulation was about a novel coronavirus that would kill millions. Oddly enough, this simulation was about a novel coronavirus that would kill millions. About 8 weeks later, an actual novel coronavirus spurred in China. This led to some people wondering if the exercise actually predicted the spread of the COVID-19. In response to these questions, a statement was posted on Event 201 website. Now, I actually did a report about whether Bill Gates had predicted the COVID-19 virus. Look it up. I have the report on my playlist. On March 18th, Bill Gates took part in the AMA Ask Me Anything on Reddit, where he answered questions about the pandemic. In one of his answers, Gates referred to a digital certificate. Listen to this, people. To keep track of who got vaccinated. Okay? Here's one of the questions. What changes are we going to have to make to how businesses operate to maintain our economy while providing social distancing? Here's Gates' answer. The question of which businesses should keep going is tricky. Certainly food supply and the health system. We still need water, electricity, and the internet. Supply chains for critical things need to be maintained. Countries are still trying to figure out what to keep running. Eventually, we will have some digital certificates to show who has recovered or has been tested recently. Or we have a vaccine, or when we have a vaccine, who has received it. Okay? This is what they're setting us up for. If we want to go back to work, we're going to have to be vaccinated and tested. Okay? And we're going to have to prove that we have done so. All right? So let me go down a little bit. Here's some more. This concept, this is another one of the top replies. I'm almost over with. We got one more paragraph. And we're going to get out of here. This concept of a digital certificate to store medical information, including vaccine received, and to grant access to rights or services, was not a mere suggestion. It was a part of a massive project that's propelled by a powerful group called ID2020, which is backed by the United Nations, the Rockefeller Foundation, and the Bill Gates Microsoft. This is why he just popped up out of nowhere. This was all planned, people. Now let me show you how all this is dragged in with the migration, illegal immigration and all the rest of the stuff. It's a world ID system is what it is. Simply put, ID 2020 is looking to create a digital identification system that would store a wealth of personal information and that would go beyond the limits of national governments. Okay? This is World ID system. The official website of ID 2020 states that a global digital identity is necessary to keep tracks of refugees and ID-less people in developing countries. These are the people that they plan to flood the Western countries with. They don't know who any of these people are. They plan to ID them for us. Of course, people in developed countries, that would be us, would be ID'd as well. This is what they're setting us up for, people, or at least this is one of the things. They usually get more than one thing out of these crises when they create them. And so this is one of the things that they're trying. Let me show you the clip of him talking about this, and we're going to get out of here.
Based on your work and your symptoms, are you a priority? If so, you're told where there are kiosks you can go to, and you'll do the self-swab and just hand it over, or...
But also other tasks, like if you've got overwhelmed healthcare systems, presumably there are kind of community health worker type tasks that people could be trained to do to relieve the pressure there, if we knew that they were effectively immune?
Yes. Until we came up with the self-swab and showed FDA that that's equivalent, we were thinking the people who might be able to man those kiosks would be the recovered patients. Now, we don't want to have a lot of recovered people. You know, to be clear, we're trying through the shutdown in the United States to not get to 1% of the population infected. We're well below that today, but with exponentiation, you know, you could get past that 3 million. I believe we will be able to avoid that with the having this economic pain. Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person. Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person, because you don't want people moving around the world where you'll have some countries that won't have it under control, sadly. You don't want to completely block off the ability for those, you know, people to go there and come back and move around. Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person. Eventually, what we'll have to have is certificates of who's a recovered person, who's a vaccinated person.
Okay, here it comes, people. They're right up on top of us. Now, what they're going to do right now, people, is try and make us so poor and desperate that if we want to go back to work, this is what we'll do. These people are pure evil.